So friends, wondering what to make for tiffin? Today I'm going to share 4 lovely non-veg recipes. One is the sausage cheese roll and I'm going to show you how to make breadcrumbs at home. Then is the delicious corned beef sandwiches. Then some meatloaf from which you can make some meatloaf sandwiches, and some ham and egg and ham and cheese sandwiches. So these are some delicious recipes. The bread crumbs out of the leftover bread sides. What I've done is I've just roasted all the bread sides that I've collected till nice and crispy, and then once they cool to room temperature, I'm just going to grind them to a very fine powder. And then once it's completely cool, I'm going to transfer it to a glass jar and I'm going to store it, and this lasts for almost a month if stored in an airtight container. So now let's continue with today's recipe of sausage cheese roll. So here I've taken 2 sausages. You can use any sausages. You can use the flavored ones or the plain breakfast sausages. And I've just cut them up like this. And then I have about half a tablespoon of oil heating up in my pan. I'm just going to fry these sausages really well. This is a super simple dish to make and it gets ready also very fast. So if your kids are hungry at home or your family members are hungry at home, and if you have some sausages and a little bit of cheese and some bread slices and a little bit of breadcrumbs, or you can make your breadcrumbs like I showed you before, you can just get this dish ready in no time. So I've just taken some bread slices, again cut off the sides, save the sides, because you can make so many dishes with these leftover sides. You can even make a bread pudding. I'll leave a link below for a bread pudding recipe which I've made with regular bread, but you can also make it with these sides. So you can make these ahead of time also, these bread rolls, and just store them in a airtight container, and whenever you feel like whenever hunger strikes, you can just fry them. And I'm not even deep frying them, I'm just going to shallow fry them. So our sausages are nice getting ready, and we want them to be completely cooked and fried well. So I'm just going to cut off all the sides of the breads. Now you can use brown bread, you can even use white bread. You can even make your own loaf of bread. I have a recipe for how to make bread at home. I will leave a link for that below. So I just grabbed a steel container and I'm just going to store all of them and collect them and then make some recipe out of those slices of sides. I don't want to waste any of it. So now what are the other things we require? We require some water. These are the sausages which are fried really well. This is a little bit of grated cheese. This is the breadcrumbs which I've just taken out in a bowl. Now I'm just going to soak each slice of bread in water for a second or so, and then I'm going to squeeze out all the water and flatten the bread completely. Then I'm going to add some slices of this fried sausage. Now if you don't have sausage at home and if you have salami or bacon, you can even add those. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of cheese. And then I'm just going to wet my fingers and I'm going to just roll them up like how we would do with a regular bread roll, and just seal up the edges completely. We need to be sealed really well because when we are frying it, we don't want it to disintegrate. So seal it completely. And then just roll it in the breadcrumbs. Now you could also, use an egg wash. In other words, is you can just take one egg, just beat it up, dip this first into the egg, and then dip it into the breadcrumbs. But even if you don't use an egg, also you can just directly roll because the bread is a little bit wet, so it immediately, all the breadcrumbs just stick to them. So in this way, you can prepare as many as you want, and you can then just shallow fry them in some oil. You could also deep fry them, but there's no real need for deep frying it. You can just shallow fry it till it's nice and golden brown. Now for the vegetarians, if you want to make the same recipe, you can stuff this with some mixed paneer vegetable or you could use paneer, a little bit of, just marinate your paneer in some ginger garlic paste and a little bit of salt and some chili powder, and then just fry the paneer very lightly, and you could use that too. If you have some leftover batata bhaji or potato bhaji, you could use that. The choices are endless. You can stuff this with anything. Even if you have some chicken mince at home, I have a recipe for how to make chicken mince. I can leave that below if you require, and you can even stuff that. And now I'm just going to use 2 tablespoons of oil, and I'm just going to shallow fry them till they're nice and golden brown. You don't really need to cook this because our sausages are fried and the bread is also cooked. We just want to get that little golden brown color. So you could enjoy this with a nice, dip, or you could even have it with some ketchup. So now you can see that it's nice and golden brown. You don't need to really cook it that much. And once you cut it up, you can see how nicely the cheese has melted, and it's really, really delicious. Simple yet delicious. So let's see today's lovely recipe of corned beef and corned beef sandwiches. Now first I'm going to prepare this simple allspice powder. So I've taken 4 cloves, half an inch of cinnamon, and I'm going to grate some nutmeg till I get half a teaspoon of nutmeg. So you get a powder like this, or you can use the ready-made nutmeg powder. And I'm going to grind these two in my mortar and pestle to a fine powder which looks like this. I'm going to mix the 3 powders together, and that's our allspice powder. And we're also going to use 1 teaspoon of pepper powder. Now I've taken 2 slices of bread, soaked it in water for about a minute, and then squeezed out all the water. Next, I'm going to take 125 grams of bacon. Now I'm using chicken bacon. You can use the pork bacon, and I'm going to grind it to a mince like this. We're also going to be using 1 egg and 250 grams of mince. You can use beef mince, mutton mince. I'm using chicken mince. Now to a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add this mince or keema. Next, I'm going to add the bacon mince. Next goes in the soaked bread. That is the bread from which we soaked it and drained out all the water or squeezed out all the water. Next, I'm going to just beat the egg lightly and add it. Next, I'm going to add the pepper powder as well as the allspice powder and some salt to taste. Now mix everything well, and at the same time keep your steamer ready. Put enough of water in the steamer because we're going to be steaming this corned beef for at least 45 minutes. So your steamer should have enough water. And then I'm going to transfer it to a vessel which fits into my steamer, which I use regularly to make my meatloafs and corned beef. I have put up a recipe for meatloaf. I will leave the link to that below, as well as to some other delicious recipes too. Now just pack it down nicely. And then we're just going to put it into our steamer, and we're going to steam this for 45 minutes on a high flame. Keep an eye on the steamer, see that the water doesn't, completely dry up. So steam it well for 45 minutes. Put a timer on your watch or on your phone. And after 45 minutes, let the the corned beef completely cool down, and then open up the steamer. And you can see that it's still hot and bubbly. And insert a knife. The knife should come out clean. That shows you that the corned beef is ready. So now let the corned beef completely cool for at least an hour. After that, we're just going to put it into our mixer jar, and we're going to grind this to a fine paste. Now I remember my mom used to make these lovely corned beef sandwiches and give them to me, in my school lunch or whenever, and it was really, really delicious. and just grind it to a fine paste like this, and your corned beef is ready. So just transfer this to an airtight container and you can keep it in your refrigerator. And now it's time to make some lovely corned beef sandwiches. So I've taken some bread and I'm just going to cut off the edges. You can keep the edges if you like. So using a serrated knife, I'm just going to cut off the edges or the sides of the bread. I'm going to apply some butter, very little butter. Or if you like a generous amount, you can. See that the butter is evenly spread all over. And then we're going to, add a very, very generous amount of the corned beef. And see that it goes to all the sides of the bread. Don't leave anything. You shouldn't see any white. It should just be completely corned beef. Believe me, guys, these sandwiches are so, so delicious. And you can keep this corned beef for at least, almost 2 to 3 weeks in your refrigerator in an airtight container. And once you've done that, you can just, add the other slice, buttered slice, keep it aside, and do the same with the other slice of bread. And then all you have to do is just cut it up into, whatever sizes you like, or just keep them whole like this. I like to make mini sandwiches. They look pretty and, they look nice, and I like it that way. I like the mini sandwiches. I've also put up other sandwich recipes like coriander and coconut chutney sandwiches. I put up the rainbow sandwiches. So I'll leave all the links in the description box below. You can go there and just click on it. It will take you directly to the recipe. So I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. I hope you give it a try. I'll catch you in the next video sooner than you think. This is Akshata signing off. Take care, guys. Bye. So let's see today's delicious meatloaf recipe with which you can make delicious sandwiches. So let's start with the easy and quick recipe. So now in a pan, I've taken just about 1/4 teaspoon of oil and I'm going to fry 250 grams of bacon. Now we want to fry the bacon till it's nice and crispy on both sides. And it doesn't require extra oil because the bacon itself, because of the little bit of fat, does leave out some oil. So that helps to fry it and make it nice and crispy. So here you can see the bacon is nice and crisped up. So once it's done, we're going to take it out of the pan and let it cool to room temperature. And then I'm just going to chop it up really fine using a nice sharp knife. Now you can use a regular bacon or you can also use chicken bacon. And I'd like to know whether you even get vegan bacon. I have heard of it, but not really sure. So let me know in the comment section whether you've ever eaten vegan bacon. So now chop it really, really fine. And since it's nice and crispy, so the process is really easy. Now once that is done, I'm just going to add 1 more teaspoon of oil to my pan and I'm going to fry 1 medium onion that I've chopped really fine. So we want to fry the onion till it's nice and translucent. I'm using a red onion. You can also use the white onion. And now I've just taken about 2 tablespoons of garlic, which is about 4 large cloves of garlic, and chopped them really fine. And I'm going to fry the garlic well too. So this dish doesn't have a lot of ingredients. but the end result is really amazing. And I love making this meatloaf on a Sunday and keeping it in my refrigerator. So whenever hunger strikes, just cut it up into thin slices, butter up some nice slices of bread, and you have your lovely meatloaf sandwiches ready. This is a great kid snack, or even a tiffin item, or just something when hunger strikes. So now I'll fry the bacon, the onions and the garlic really well. And now here I've taken 500 grams of mince. To that I'm going to add the fried bacon. Now again, you can use chicken mince, you can use mutton mince, you can use beef mince. I like to go with leaner meat, so I'm using chicken, and even the bacon I'm using is chicken bacon, which is easily available. And now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of mixed herbs. I'm also going to be adding a little bit of chili flakes, about a teaspoon for a little bit of a spice kick, and 1 teaspoon of pepper. For those of you who watch my recipes know that I use a lot of pepper and I just love the taste of pepper. And I'm going to add some salt to taste. And now to hold everything together, I'm going to be using about 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. So all I've done is just taken some slices of bread and made them into crumbs in my blender. And now just one more ingredient, and that is an egg. So I'm just going to beat the egg and I'm going to add that too. So the eggs and the breadcrumbs really hold this whole the thing together and make it into a lovely loaf. So add the egg, and then all you got to do is just mix everything really well together. So all of the ingredients are nicely well incorporated. So let me know in the comment section whether you make your meatloaf like this or you have a different recipe. I would love to hear from you guys. And now I've just greased my loaf tin with a little bit of butter, and I'm just going to add this entire mixture. And now I just want to pack it down really, really well. Now this would be a good time to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, which is around 356 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 10 minutes. So pat it down really, really gently. And then we're just going to bake it in the preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 45 minutes. But do keep an eye on it because every oven is different. And here my lovely meatloaf is all ready. Doesn't it look nice and juicy? And I'm going to let it cool completely before I demold it. And you can see how well it's nicely baked, and the aroma in my kitchen is really amazing. I just can't wait to cut this up into slices and make some beautiful sandwiches. So let me know how you like this recipe. Do give it a try, and I'll catch you soon in my next video. Bye.